The pizza party Passione. I don't speak Italian, so I have no idea if I'm saying that right, but this is by far the largest pizza oven I have ever reviewed. Today we're not doing a typical review, we're just doing a quick initial review. Normally I go in depth with heat up times and everything. This oven is so different than anything I've ever tested that today I'm making an exception. I really want to push the limits on how much pizza I can cook in it at a time. Based on looking at it, I was guessing I could probably fit 4 12-inch pizzas at once and 2 16-inch pizzas at once. The thing I'm not sure of is if I would be able to handle that many pizzas at once. So today we're gonna figure that out. But first, I feel I do need to disclaim, this pizza oven was sent to me by Pizza Party. I did not purchase this with my own money. They reached out to me and asked if there's any pizza ovens on their website I would like to review. I chose this one because it's dual fuel, it has the propane or wood, and it's huge. They sent it to me, there's no agreement where I can't say certain things. I can be 100% honest, which I do appreciate. So today is an honest review, even though this was sent to me. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get back to the review. Before we cook a ton of pizzas in this, the initial thing I've noticed is this thing is huge and heavy. It did come in a big crate where it was nice and secure. It had a protective film over it to keep the finish looking nice. It was packaged very neatly, had some rope on it to help lift it up into place, which I did. Speaking of the stones, I put an ice cold Dr. Pepper, not a sponsor yet, next to it to see how thick those stones really are, because they are thick. And then underneath, they've got this white insulation stuff to help keep the heat as well. So I'm very much looking forward to the heat up test on this and the heat retention and how well it does there. The first issue I did run into so far with the stones is the front left stone here. Due to it, you can tell they are handmade, which I do appreciate. It's not perfect. So it created this lip kind of right in the middle of the oven, probably a 1/2-inch gap, where I was really worried as I was moving pizzas around it could catch and tear the dough. So what they recommend is to get some tin foil and fold it up and then take the stones, back out and then put the foil in and level it as you go. So I went through and did that process. There was one point where the stone kind of wiggled. So I added some tin foil back as a shim in the back, and then that helped really make it solid. Stones, you can see in the videos I show, the stones don't line up perfectly, but after cooking it several times, it doesn't really affect it that much. I do plan to move this thing around a lot. I would plan on moving it with the stones in place, but do it carefully, because taking those out and putting them back in is a lot of work, especially if you have to level it. So I'd highly recommend getting a cart to wheel it or put it somewhere semi-permanent. Let's get into the cooking. The first thing I tried out after I got this all together and had it running, I had some pizza dough just kind of sitting there, and I was impatient. So one of the things I do like to do and eat is I'll just chop up the dough with scissors. I'll cut it up into little dough balls and then just cook them. So I cooked them on a cookie sheet and threw them in. And to my surprise, this thing was big enough that I could rotate the cookie sheet inside of the oven. The rolls turned out awesome. It did a great job baking them. So next what I did was a 16-inch pizza. Pizza turned out great. The crust was awesome, the toppings were awesome. The undercarriage, I didn't get a picture of, I wish I had. It wasn't great. And I think that's more on just the learning curve, because I usually launch my New York style pizzas in my dome like at 750 and then turn it off. And I did that same thing in this oven, but I think because of the biscotto stones don't transfer that heat as quickly, which is, in my mind actually a good thing, it didn't cook it as well. What I did next was I cooked 2 16-inch pizzas inside of this oven. This time I let it to get up to 850, launched it, and turned off the flame. And then when it came time to start it back up, that did remind me of another drawback of this oven, is there's not an igniter. So you need to have a lighter to light the flame, which when the oven's already hot, it gets a little difficult. Obviously, you can buy lighters that are longer, which is what I would recommend. I just had a tiny little lighter, so I had to stick my arm up in there, and it was kind of hot. We got that lit back up, cooked the 16-inch pizzas, I actually took one out, slid the one from the front to the back and rotated them. Since that back area tends to hold the heat a little bit more, I was able to remove that whole 16-inch pizza and rotate them. The undercarriage on the 16-inch pizzas this time turned out way better. They were way more browned, more crisp. It was much more like a 16-inch pizza. So with the Biscotto stone, especially if you're doing New York style, I recommend launching them at a much higher temp than if you were doing, like, I forgot what the normal Gosney stones are called. Quarterite? Quarterite, had to Google it. The next thing I wanted to test was cooking 3 pizzas at one time. I knew this thing could fit them easily. I just didn't know if I'd be able to cook 3 at a time or if they'd all burn. The one on the left closest to the burner, you gotta watch it, swapping the ones front and back again, and then just keep an eye on the one right next to the burner. But each pizza that came out, all 3 of them looked awesome. I was shocked how easy it was to cook 3 pizzas at once and not mess up. And I thought, let's push it to the limit and do 4 pizzas at once, which I'd never done before. And to put in perspective, I've done a lot of pizza events, and normally I've got 2 ovens, like I'll have 2 rock boxes or 2 Arc XLs, and I'm cooking 2 at a time, just so I can keep an eye on both. I've maybe done 3 at a time, but I tend to mess up because I get distracted. It's hard to go between 3 ovens. So doing 4 at a time is new territory for me. As I launched each of those pizzas, I became more shocked on how big this oven really is. I thought with the 4 pizzas in there, they'd all be like touching, but there was still room to easily rotate them and move them around. And I even I pulled some out from the back and then slid some from the front to the back, just to showcase how easy it is to move these pizzas around and even take them out of the oven and put them back in. So if you have like a surface next to you, it makes it really easy to do that. In the end, all 4 pizzas turned out awesome. I did not screw them up, which is saying a lot. It really was fun having to cook 4 pizzas at once and just kind of orchestrate it all and be able to do that. I did it when we had family over. And so 4 people made their pizzas, brought them out. I cooked them all at once. Boom. They went in and ate. Super quick and easy. So far, I've been very impressed with the pizza party. The drawback so far, like I said, is the stone did have that issue where I had to go through and level, and even still, it's not perfectly level. The lighter makes it kind of hard to light. I wish there was a natural gas option because I have a hookup for natural gas. I'm going to be doing quite a few more videos on the pizza party since this is just kind of a quick initial review. I'm going to be putting it up against the dome. I'll be doing just like an in-depth review of it where we'll look at heat up times, recovery times, pros and cons. We'll do a much more in-depth review, so make sure you're subscribed if you want to see that. And then I'll also do one with this against the dome strictly with wood burning and kind of see what the differences are there between those. And let me know if there's anything else you guys want to see with the pizza party. Leave it in the comments below. Otherwise, hope this video helps, and thank you for stopping by.